is the Celebrity Afterlife Report podcast.
Hello, friends! It's time once again for another weekly installment of the Celebrity Afterlife Report, the only show on the internet that gives you the up-to-the-minute gossip about all your favorite deceased celebs. I'm your host, the Celebrity Medium. In the next world, as on the earthly plane, there is romance, there is laughter, there is conflict. It's my job to follow and report to you on those and everything else that happens on the afterlife celebrity scene. With so many deceased celebs, it can be a little hard to stay on top of it all, but that's why I make the big bucks. The bizarre standoff in Trump City continues into its third week. Mayor Fred Trump, the father of the new American president, sealed the entrances into his whites-only community and has refused to let anyone in or out. Last week, one of the residents apparently threw a rock with a note attached to it over the walls of the gated community. The unsigned note said that at least some of the people inside would like to leave, but aren't allowed to. That, as you would expect, caused consternation among the relatives, friends, and loved ones of Trump City residents. Several people claim to recognize the handwriting on the note as belonging to someone they are personally close to. Since last week, people on the outside of the walls say they've heard sounds that indicate commotion inside the sealed-off town from time to time. The biggest development since I last spoke to you is that famous aviator Charles Lindbergh appeared a few times on top of the walls surrounding the compound. Regular listeners will remember that Lindbergh, a well-documented Nazi sympathizer back in the day, was very instrumental in the creation of Trump City. I'm told that his appearances were brief and consisted of him trying to reassure the crowd outside Trump City that everything in the town is perfectly normal and everyone there was fine. As you probably guessed, the crowd wasn't buying it. It shouted at him to open the gates and let them come in. Now, on the first occasion when he appeared, Lindbergh kept talking over the shouts, repeating his assurances that all is well inside the town. When the crowd wouldn't stop yelling at him, he left the parapet. The same scenario occurred 2 days later when he reappeared with his bullhorn. My sources tell me that during his second appearance, he looked somewhat haggard, as if he hadn't been sleeping much. They say his clothes were rumpled, and he looked as if he needed a shave. Lucky Lindy also stumbled over his words a lot during his second harangue before again leaving abruptly. Bottom line, things are still incredibly strange in Trump City, and no one has any idea how this will all play out. On the last report, I told you that professional wrestlers Ivan Koloff and George the Animal Steele had just arrived in the next world and were immediately approached by Vince McMahon Sr., who offered them both jobs as thespians with his Shakespearean acting troupe. Now, while Koloff said he needed more time to get acquainted with his new surroundings, Steele immediately accepted the offer in character. My afterlife sources tell me that Koloff hasn't yet said da or niet to McMahon's offer, but Steele has already gone into rehearsal for an upcoming production of A Midsummer's Night's Dream. Sir John Hurt, who recently joined the company himself, previously expressed admiration for the former wrestlers who have been with the troupe for a while, saying that they bring an energy and enthusiasm to the work that he rarely saw in more traditional actors. The word I've gotten is that Sir John had the Animal do a run-through of some of the script for A Midsummer's Night's Dream. Afterwards, he reportedly said he had never seen such an animated interpretation of Shakespeare's dialogue as the beloved wrestler brought to it. Sir John was quoted as saying, "As much as I love Gielgud's work, I honestly have to say I think George Steele is the superior actor for Shakespeare," unquote. Okay, that's a little hard to imagine, but who am I to question John Hurt, right? I would love to know what Gielgud thinks about that. Actor Bill Paxton, who appeared in the original Terminator movie as well as Aliens, Twister, Titanic, and many other biggies, just transitioned to the next world over the weekend. His arrival wasn't expected and took many there off guard, so there wasn't as large a crowd assembled to greet him as would otherwise have been expected. As with a certain percentage of new arrivals, Paxton seemed disoriented, according to my sources, but he came around somewhat when he realized where he was and that the people there were all happy to see him. Now, I'm told that he attempted to make a little speech thanking everyone for greeting him so warmly, but he stumbled a bit over his words. And when he finished, a few of the volunteered new arrival guides, including Keith Moon, former drummer for The Who, led him off to a nearby facility where they could explain the details of his new existence to him. I'm sure you all join me in wishing Bill the best from here on out, and I'm really sure that an actor of his talent will soon get a number of of offers for performing jobs. Lastly, I'm sure by now you've heard about the embarrassing screw-up at the Oscars during the presentation of the Best Picture Award. Presenters Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway announced the winner as La La Land, which had been the favorite to take the big prize. Moments later, as a producer of La La Land was in the middle of making his acceptance speech, it was announced that a mistake had been made and that the actual winner of the Best Picture Oscar was Moonlight. The flub had the live audience and viewers all around the world stunned. As it turned out, it wasn't only people on the earthly plane who were nonplussed by the shocking development. Legendary actor, dancer, and choreographer Gene Kelly, who currently resides in the Afterlife, hosted an Oscar party for a large group of friends at an upscale restaurant. Before the party, Kelly had told interviewers that, like most people in earthly plane showbiz, he expected La La Land to take the grand prize. He said he was excited to see musicals make a comeback and that he hoped that La La Land's win would be a harbinger of many more musicals to come. Now, he said that before the big Oscar screw-up. So when word arrived that the film had been announced as the big winner, Kelly led the partygoers in a toast to the return of the musical, only to be let down when the announcement was rescinded seconds later. When reporters caught up with Kelly as he exited the party sometime later, he said, "I'm sure Moonlight is a fine picture, but I hope this doesn't mean that Hollywood won't return to the glamour of musical films," unquote. Okay, just before I started recording this, I got a very brief note whispered to me that Judge Joseph Wapner, who was the host of People's Court for a number of years, just transitioned to the Afterlife. He was in his 90s. Something is going on, I'm told. I didn't get all the details. I will get the details and I will give them to you when I speak to you next. But from the excited tone of the source that told me what little I know, it sounds like it's something kind of crazy. You know, like that never happens in the Afterlife. But anyway, I'll have that the details on that for you in the next report. So, okay, that's it for now. Time to lock up the Celebrity Afterlife Report studio until next week, when I'll be back with another roundup of the latest gossip about all your favorite deceased celebs, including Judge Wapner. Until then, please spread the word that the report is available on iTunes, in the Google Play Store, and on KCHUNG AM 1630 in Los Angeles. Also, please like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Until next time, I am the Celebrity Medium. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to the Celebrity Afterlife Report podcast. To ask a question about your favorite deceased celebrity, call 818-3-MY-DREAM. 818-3-MY-DREAM. 818-369-3732.